they immediately jumped back into it, and they signed Michael Conforto, who missed all of last season. They signed him to a 2-year, $36 million deal, but there is an opt-out after the first year. And I actually don't like this contract, and I'm going to tell you why. The Manaea and Stripling contracts with the opt-outs, I'm more fine with those because the Giants have a waiting in the wings Kyle Harrison, who, if things go well and he doesn't have to pitch in San Francisco until maybe later in the year or even the next year, there's cushion there for when Manaea and Stripling are like, all right, I had a good season. Thank you, guys. I'm leaving. With Conforto, the Giants do not have anybody waiting in the wings. So if he has a great season, it's peace out. If he has a bad season, then they're on the hook for whatever the 18 million is or whatever. And so I just don't like that because it works from the pitching perspective because they had arms. And in this perspective for the Giants, they don't have a bat necessarily waiting in the wings to come play a corner outfield spot when he decides to hit the market again next year. So the other thing is that I get kind of worried that this team is so in love with these 1-and-1 deals that if you are a Shohei or you're a Juan Soto, you have like 4 or 5 or 6 guys sort of looking at the Giants as you are going to help me get back into free agency. And if I'm a big time free agent and I'm ready to sign this $9 or $10 million or 10-year deal, I don't want the team to be the team that gets the 1-and-1s. I want the team that is willing to invest in players, because would you advise anybody if you're a friend who's a Giants fan is like, God, Conforto is awesome. I want to get my kid a jersey. You go, no, don't.
No.
It's going to last for like a year, maybe not even a year. They could trade him
Not
at
even
the
a
deadline.
year. Yeah,
So,
not even a year, and not even 162 games. You got a guy coming off of major surgery who missed all of last year. And the Giants, Kapler's not going to play him like 158 games this year. He's going to play in 110, 120.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know where you're coming from. And it is frustrating too, because you see, like, so Haniger signs a 3-year deal, right?
That's the biggest deal the Giants have signed a free agent to since their own. I'm talking about bringing in a new guy, right? For like
Well,
forever.
LaStella was a 3-year deal,
but he was not 15 million or 20.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like that.
It was low risk.
Yeah.
But then you get Conforto. So then you start thinking, okay, well, we got Conforto, but it was a 3-year deal with a 1-year opt out. The frustrating thing is, was he looking for that? Was he saying, I want to go somewhere, I'm coming off the surgery, I want to prove myself, then I want to get that 5-year bank?
Yeah.
So I'm going to use the Giants as a stepping stone. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to play good baseball. Not the greatest place to show your offensive talents at Oracle Park. That's the only issue. But is he coming here thinking he can win? I mean, so which one is it? Are you showcasing, or are you thinking you're going to win some ball games and then you want to stick around? You don't want to opt out. So as a Giants fan, that's extremely frustrating. And this was the season. This was the season I had given Zadie up until this year, because we knew all this money was coming off the book. So
yeah,
looking at this season and not getting Judge so far, not getting Correa, and then signing more 1-year opt-out deals, it's frustrating. I'm a frustrated Zadie follower. I almost said fan, but I don't even think I'm a Zadie fan anymore. I'm a Zadie follower now at this point.
And look, it is nothing against Conforto at all.
No, absolutely
not. I just, when you think of a team, you want to root for your guys. But to me, in my headspace, after seeing Rodon, who we loved last year, he was awesome.
Yeah,
there is frustration in him leaving, even though we knew that's what he was signed to do. But he was so good. You kind of go, man, I wish he was on our team for another 3 or 4 years. And that's what's going to happen here is if Conforto has a bounce back season and he's a plus, player and just excellent season and he's easy to root for, then you're like, oh, but we only really have him for 1 year, and that can be a little frustrating. Like you want to sink your
Yeah.
teeth into this team, and you want to root for your guys. The team who brought Buster Posey up, and he's only played for one team. Brandon Belt has only played for one team. Brandon Crawford has only played for one team. And this is kind of what made this team so popular. Is these guys you could root for year in and year out. And now they've actually flipped it the other way. And it's guys who are signing 1-year deals. And it's, we put the qualifying offer on Jock, and so we do get him for the next year, but it's only for this year. Then next year he could be a free agent and go anywhere he wants. So that's part of the problem, especially when they did the worst attendance in Oracle Park history last year.
Yeah, and it's a catch-22 because here's Conforto. You get to the All-Star break, and he's got 17 bombs, and he's hitting 305, and you go, well, that's great. We're not going to see him next year. So awesome. Now what do we do?
Yeah. On the other hand, Taylor Rogers is going to be a lot of fun. The one thing that it says, though, to me, he signed for 3 years. Does that mean Tyler Rogers is going to be signed for the next 3 years as well?
Well, you know what? I've been meaning to look at that because that's one thing I forgot to look up this week. Was I wanted to see what Tyler Rogers remaining. So he's
got options, right?
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Tyler Rogers is a free agent in 3 years.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense.
They'll both be free agents in 2026. So yeah.
So that works. And Taylor Rogers, I think, is a very energetic arm out of the bullpen for them, and I think they will use him pretty much I don't want to say perfectly, but the way that they will use him, it will be in places for him to be super successful, having that lefty righty combination with him and Duvall, because they had to use Duvall a lot last year. So having another reliable, dependable arm right there, I think will be good. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun story, and I think it'll actually help to have him in that bullpen. And maybe it'll even help his brother because, even though the super analytics say that his brother was almost the same pitcher, the results were not the same when it came to the game. And maybe there's things that, having his best friend on the team will be good for him.